Hello everyone, and welcome to the last entry in the Main Explained series, where we go over the new updates in each Explorer class after Destiny, and go over the changes in the skills, animations, and talk about the efficacy of the class in training and bossing. As usual, please make sure to take these videos with a grain of salt, as the only way to truly know if a class is right for you is to play it. I've really appreciated all the comments, engagements, likes, and subscribes on these videos, and will continue to make more. I've heard and read your comments on getting better video, so my goal for future videos will be to train my characters to 200 before giving out guide type information so the videos match the information. Let's do it. Our first class today is the Dark Knight, and this was actually the first class that I got to over level 140 back in the old Bara server, and the class is so old that I found items from the 7th anniversary on my account, including this weird looking Scarleon helmet thing. This class has a black and red aesthetic to it, kinda similar to a Shadower in a way, but with more black and purple highlights in the skills. The gimmick with this class is that he has a ton of health and the ability to give himself and party members more health as well with the Hyper Body skill. They also do more damage with their skills when they have more health as well. The nice thing with this class is that instead of having a bunch of buffs, most of the buffing is handled by a little Sonic Battle looking purple eyeball. This class just has ridiculous possibilities as far as iframes go. With the Final Pact skill, it actually heals you when you die and gives you extra lives, so to speak. So if you have enough cooldown reduction and buff duration, it's possible to have this every 90 seconds or so, meaning that you can have an extra life every 90 seconds. As far as the skills go, nothing was officially removed or mentioned by Nexon in their patch notes. The skills that were added were just two, so Evil Eye Shock 1 and 2. So Evil Eye Shock 1 is the Evil Eye releases a terrifying scream that deals damage to nearby enemies. It basically is just a mobbing skill that hits all around you in a kind of a nice rectangle. And Evil Eye Shock 2 just increases the damage of Evil Eye Shock 1. Training with this character consists of using the few buffs that it has, then using Dark Impale while jumping around the map. Dark Knights aren't too terribly mobile, but they're just mobile enough that even when you get to 5th job, you'll have to move around the room to kill the enemies. The 4 skills that you get in 5th job are all cooldown attacks, and they look amazing, but they have cooldowns of a minimum of 10 seconds, and it's just a small price to pay for the tankiness of this class. And for bossing, speaking of tankiness, I wanted to add a new section to the video and talk a little about bossing with this class. Which, you won't see it on a ton of the videos behind me. Dark Knights are insane bossers for a lot of reasons. We've already talked about the Final Pact skill for multiple extra lives, but they also do more damage when their health is higher, and all 4 of the basic 5th job skills ignore enemy defense. And they also steal HP percentage from mobs on attacks as well, and Sonic Battle looking eyeball also heals periodically as well. So when you add all that up, Dark Knights have a pretty enticing package. So is the class fun to play? That is the most important question when talking about mains, and I won't lie, I had a hard time deciding. I've played so many classes at this point to where the style doesn't necessarily stick out to me, and at first it seemed a little slower paced, but once it hit 4th job it really picked up and became a lot more fun with the ability to do some bosses at that early level. It felt almost like a Buccaneer in the way it trains and the shape of its mobbing skill, and in my Buccaneer video I gave it an 8 out of 10, and that feels pretty close to what this character should be, an 8 out of 10. However, if you're a bosser and you train this character to after level 200, I believe that you'll find this character to be even higher on that list, maybe even up to a 9 out of 10. Our second class today is our Paladins, who take their name and likeness from the 12 fictional Knights of Legend. They are empowered with the golden aesthetic meant for holy damage, tanking, and a little bit of healing. Paladins are meant to be a tanky class, and they are meant to have high survivability in general, but especially in boss fights. Not only does this class have its own bind with Smite Shield, which is a hyper skill, it also has a god mode iframe called Sacro Sanctity that makes you invincible for a full 30 seconds. No gimmicks, no quirks, no catches. Completely invincible. This class is one of the original classes that came with MapleStory, so it's not mechanically intensive, and nor do you have to micromanage every aspect of the class. Its beauty is in the simplicity. The skills that were removed from this class were the Flame Charge, Blizzard Charge, Elemental Charge, Lightning Charge, and Advanced Charge. They basically removed the charge system for elements in general from this class. And so what they did is they added a bunch of skills after that. There are 5 of them. The first one is Divine Swing, which swings a large hammer conjured from light, damaging and stunning nearby enemies. This is your main attack skill for second job. Second skill was Vessel of Light. This amasses the power of light within yourself through the use of holy power skills, which what that means is that it stacks charges of holy light whenever you use holy skills. And each charge grants damage plus recovery, attack power, status resistance, and you take less damage, and that also includes damage proportional to your HP. You can gain up to 5 stacks. The third skill is Divine Mark, which allows you to summon a more powerful Divine Hammer. So this is your main attack skill for fourth job. It actually extends the reach of Divine Charge from third job, and it also makes it explode every couple of seconds. It's a fun skill. Fourth is Divine Judgment. This marks enemies struck by your blast skill with the Divine Brand. So this makes enemies who have been struck by blast 5 times, they actually just explode with a little bit more damage. It's a very nice bossing skill. And then finally is Greater Vessel of Light. So it empowers Vessel of Light by increasing the bonus granted by light charges. It increases Divine Charge's max number of targets and the attack count of both Divine Charge and Blast. It overrides the effects of Vessel of Light. So all that is to say, it does the same thing as the regular Vessel of Light, but it makes Divine Charge hit more enemies and grants Divine Charge and Blast an extra attack. Again, really nice quality of life change. Training even into the 5th job will consist of using Divine Charge primarily, but once you get to 5th job, how you utilize it will change drastically. Pre-5th job, you'll just swing that blunt object around along with Heaven's Hammer and kill everything as fast as possible around you. Post 5th job though, you'll be mixing in Righteous Hammer every 60 seconds or so, along with the ability to throw your hammers around with Mighty Mjolnir. If you're training with a partner, you also get a skill that links to this partner, sort of like Shadow Partner, and then uses your skill but on their body as you're using it. So if they're not moving, they can almost be used as a summon while you're linked to that person. Kind of interesting. Bossing with a paladin is actually pretty ridiculous because of the aforementioned invisibility frames and tankiness of the class in general. But specifically, once you get to the 5th job, you'll be able to burst bosses insanely fast with the Grand Guardian skill and spamming Blast/Mighty Mjolnir until they die. So my personal opinion on this class is that it's a 9.5 out of 10. It is as close to a perfect class, at least as far as what I like, that I could find among the explorers. Its combination of jaw-dropping bossing skills on top of good to very good mobbing makes it all around one of the most fun classes to play. Nexon did an A+ job on this class. Finally, our last character is going to be the hero, which uses different versions of flaming swords to rend the enemy in two. The hero is one of the oldest classes in the game, and if properly funded, is also one of the hardest hitting. I've actually seen videos of players doing a total of 100 billion with one Raging Blow. It's kind of insane, actually. This class is pretty simple to play overall, as you'll mostly be doing damage with 2 skills from 4th through 5th job, while mixing in 5th job skills for utility. This class doesn't have a built-in bind, but it does have an iframe in the form of the World Reaver 5th job skill. Skill-wise, the ones that were removed were Combo Fury, Shout, and Panic, and then there were 3 skills that were added. First is Flash Blade. So the description says zip forward in a flash, cutting enemies in your path. So this is sort of an auto-targeting skill in 2nd job. It slashes enemies while moving forward. And then Beam Blade. This launches out blades that tear your enemies apart. This actually allows you to kind of sling a beam or shoot it out every few seconds, and you can aim it in the 8 directions anywhere you want. Third skill was Scarring Sword. This infuses your sword with spirit, which leaves an indelible scar on the enemy. Well, that confusing description means that this decreases the accuracy and attack power of the enemy, so a really good boss skill. So for training, this class's training is pretty straightforward. You'll mostly be jumping around the room back and forth with Raging Blow, while adding in Puncture to hit enemies on higher platforms to make sure they're not missed. Once you hit 5th job, It's going to be a similar pattern, though you'll also be able to mix in skills like World Reaver, Soul Illusion, and others to hit those far away enemies even easier. Bossing for this class, Raging Blow will still be the attack of choice for bosses, but when bossing, you'll use skills like Puncture, Magic Crash, and Scarring Sword to debuff the enemy, and then you'll burst them down with Instinctual Combo and then also Raging Blow. Overall, this class, Funness, I had a hard time with since I recognize that it really starts to shine once it reaches 5th job. Grinding wasn't quite as fun since Raging Blow doesn't have great range, but it's not really bad by any means. And of course, I can't really grade the bossing since the character isn't high enough to do the hardest bosses, but I did like that as with all the other warriors, the bosses I did try didn't even have a chance to kill me. Overall, I think this is a 7.5 out of 10 for me, and I realize this could be different for you if you really like the playstyle and how they move and grind. Overall, the warriors received some extremely thoughtful quality of life changes, especially the paladin, which made them quite effective to play and train. I gave serious thought to switching my main to paladin, and at this moment in time I actually still haven't decided if I'm going to switch it or not. It mostly depends on whether or not some of my friends that I have that play the game switch. If they switch, I obviously won't, but if they don't, I'm going to give it some very serious thought. If you do switch, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I cannot wait to bring you more content. See you guys in the next video.